Commissioners meeting is now convened. Pam, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Platt?
Here.
Commissioner Gambetti?
Here.
Commissioner Moreland Capuya? Commissioner Myers?
Here.
Chair Cruz?
Here.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, I have a brief notice to read. As a result of the COVID-19 pandemic and the need to limit in-person contact and promote social distancing, Prosper Portland is holding this meeting electronically as allowed by state law. All members of the commission are attending remotely by phone, and Prosper Portland has made several avenues available for the public to listen to the audio broadcast of this meeting. We're working on that now. The public can also provide written testimony to the commission by emailing feigenbutzp, that's FEIGENBUTZP, at prosperportland.us. Thank you. Okay, first up we have an action item authorizing the creation of a Portland Small Business Relief Fund. And Kimberly, I think you're going to present this. Great, and there are the slides, super.
Thank you, Chair Cruz, Commissioners. Actually, Tori's going to walk us through this presentation, and appreciate everybody's flexibility in using this approach. So Tori, let's get started. Thanks.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm going to take a few moments just to set the stage, and then I'll have my colleague Amy Nagy spend the remainder of our time giving you more of the details of what we're calling our Small Business Relief Fund, of which we are presenting to the board for decision on. First, I want to kind of set the stage in terms of how do we get here. We realize that the urgency of the hour is immense with respects to a health crisis that has quickly spilled over into an economic crisis within our city, and that's reflected throughout the nation and also globally as well. And so the demand for relief for small businesses in our community is deeply immense. And so the program that we have designed, it takes notes from other cities that we have been in coordination and conversation with, both within our state as well as other sister cities have also taken on to implement small business relief funds, whether it be in Seattle, even here locally is Hillsborough, all the way out to New York City, LA. So the first slide I wanted to show you provide some context just in respects to what we saw really almost 2 weeks ago. What was a sense that we knew that things were quickly and rapidly changing, and yet we did not realize the scale of it as we had seen in other cities. So this slide just gives you as an example when we're looking at some of the most immediately impacted was restaurant tourism. And this shows you just year over year example of what the restaurants were experiencing. We highlighted both a few cities that are on the West Coast, Los Angeles, Seattle, San Francisco, and San Diego. And what the slide shows you that in general, a 20% year over year drop is definitely outside. Seattle and San Francisco dropped permanently below that mark March 1st. Los Angeles followed March 9th, and Portland began March 11th. So we are approximately around 10 days behind the worst hit cities, but it also tells us what's in our near future. And honestly, this is more of a look back, we are seeing as of today. Some of the things that we have learned over the last 2.5 weeks on this very rapidly changing environment for both individuals and the city are these three things. Structure matters. And so when talking with a number of cities that I've had the privilege over the last few weeks to be on a regular call with Seattle, San Francisco, New York, San Diego, and probably 12 other economic development agencies throughout the country. We've seen that structure matters in terms of what we're calling, what they share as a war room, which includes economic considerations being brought to the table where mayors and leaders are actively talking every day on how to address the situations. We've also seen that direct engagement with the private sector is incredibly important, and staying coordinated and sharing clear messages is essential. We've also found in some of our early lessons learned is that it's not just one variable, but it's a myriad of things that have to be considered. So housing stabilization has showed up as an immediate point of action, whether that be residential eviction suspensions or rent and utilities assistance, of which we have seen our city already take action on with the mayor and city council last week. And then the last one is small business supports, of which we bring our relief fund to you today as but one of a number of interventions that we have already deployed and will continue to work on, which is providing loans that are either loans that have zero interest towards loan participation or grants, which obviously is preferred by businesses during this time. We've also seen deferment of city and council payments for up to 6 months, which is the programs that were launched in San Francisco and Seattle. And then lastly, technical assistance to actually help businesses during this very difficult time prepare themselves for SBA disaster loans in Seattle. And this past week, SBA loans for disaster have also been initiated here in the city as well. And so we're seeing early movement on that front. So for us, there are basically three different task force or teams that we have set up to help govern and support the work. The first is an Economic Impact Action Committee. And this is comprised of the mayor and city leaders who work actively every day. We have an 11 o'clock check-in where we are continuing to keep ourselves apprised of decisions and direction and messaging that needs to go out in order to support the work citywide. There's also an Economic Impact Intervention Task Force, which is a much larger group comprising of over 80 participants from different sectors, business, private, and nonprofits to help support the work by providing both recommendations on interventions that we have considered or are taking, or new ones that have yet to be developed and deployed, just to make sure that we have the full breadth of wisdom as we lean into this work collectively. And then the last is pulling together working groups on a regular basis, realizing that there are just ideas and concepts or even gnarly, thorny problems that we've not had a chance to really deal with yet. And so pulling together the best and brightest minds in the moment to do so. And this has really informed the way we've done our work collaboratively and in partnership. And to date, we feel like many of the ideas that have been brought to surface are ones that have been rooted in these principles of connection, engagement, and participation beyond a broad network of partners. The last thing I want to highlight will be what we have proposed and what we're currently working under, which is our economic stabilization and recovery framework. It includes 4 areas. The first one is to increase communication and connections to support. That's very straightforward. But during this time where people are being deluged with information on a day-to-day basis, we have to find ways to break through the noise to ensure that we can give businesses and individuals proper information on how the city is supporting them, working with them, and give them direction so that they can make the best decision, particularly within the context of their business as the next move and their employees. The next area is just mitigation in terms of economic hardships on impacted individuals. So this has a lot of work to do with how do we support the employees who are being infected and being laid off and furloughed. And so a lot of work has already gone into that and will continue to do so. Our third area that we have focused in on, of which we are bringing to you today around this fund, is helping small businesses stay solvent and to retain their employees. And then lastly, the last area that we are focusing in on as an early intervention and a guiding principle is to evaluate cities' businesses' practices as well as redirect available resources, knowing that these COVID-19 has impacted many of our normal day-to-day actions, operations, and events. Many of those dollars can and should be in order to be focused in on the interventions that we're proposing. All of these interventions really are being guided by some core values, which is to prioritize support for the most vulnerable, applying a racial inequity lens to that work. I think this in many ways is unique to Portland, and it stays right in the vein of what our mission is in Prosper Portland in terms of creating widely shared economic prosperity. In this case, it's widely shared, not only economic prosperity, but also relief and intervention. And so equity is something that is infused in every action that we have presented thus far, and the city has rallied around, which we're proud of. We've also realized that we have to act quickly, we have to be nimble, and we have to leverage existing networks and assets. And lastly, we want to really make a difference where possible, so that's important, and that partners and advocate everywhere else that we can in order to do so. So with that, I will move to my final slide, and then I'll hand it over to Amy, who will give you more details around the Portland Small Business Relief Fund. So today's proposed action is to establish the Portland Small Business Relief Fund to provide small grants as well as no interest loans to businesses experiencing hardships due to the critical COVID-19 related public health requirements. The goal of the fund is simple. It's to help provide interim relief for businesses and enable them to retain their businesses as well as employees. We realize this is not a silver bullet. This is really a stopgap, a short-term measure, and really it's a measure that's going to be layered among others in order to help businesses be able to stabilize themselves for what we believe will be much larger and necessary supports to come in the weeks ahead, whether that be state or federal dollars, which we anticipate. But we realize we need to act now in order to help businesses be able to position themselves for such future interventions. And so with that, I will hand it over to Amy, and she will walk you through the details of what the Small Business Relief Fund will entail and how it can support businesses at this time.
Thank you, Tori. Good morning, Commissioner. So as we are looking at the slide around the Portland Small Business Relief Fund application criteria, as Tori outlined, we've got two kind of financial products right now that make up this fund currently. And so we have a grant program as well as a loan program. And these are aimed at addressing needs within the strata of our small businesses. So at a minimum, there are some shared requirements in that the businesses that would be eligible for this are those that are public facing. So our Main Street businesses are kind of neighborhood corridors, those that are retailers, coffee shops, and food services that have been directly impacted by the public health requirements related to the virus, or businesses that have experienced 25% or more decline in revenue since February, this February. And those will be companies like within our manufacturing, our industrial sector, as well as office related and traded sector. For those that are the very small businesses, this does need to be their primary source of income, and they will need to have all been operating within the city of Portland since July of 2019. So for the grant program, the businesses, these are for those that have less than $2 million in annual revenue, less than 50 employees. For the loan program, this is maybe a little bit for a bit larger of a business that's has a $5 million or less annual gross revenue. So as Tori mentioned, we've been working to put together a fund. This represents right now the public funds that are available. So we have $2 million. Right now we are dispersing and allocating them 50-50. So we have $1 million in grants and then $1 million within the loans. For the grants, we're offering $10,000 maximum per business, so per applicant. And with this, we're hoping to serve roughly 150 businesses or more. For the loans, these are available for up to a $50,000 loan, and the businesses we're looking to serve hopefully around 50, if not a little more. So about 200 businesses. As we talked about, this is, we have limited funds, and so we are trying to reach as many businesses as possible, while at the same time making sure that the investments we're making are meaningful and it will help them. In addition, we have, in looking at across what our partner cities have been doing, either across the country or within our region, much of what you will see is mimicking that. And we are feeling very good about that. We are kind of in alignment with what small businesses are needing. However, as we're looking at the grant program, the equity and vulnerability priorities, we do appreciate that there are certain groups within our business community that don't typically have the access that others may have. And therefore, we'll be prioritizing our grant selection to businesses that are Black, Indigenous, Asian Pacific Islander, and people of color or women. Businesses for whom the resources will help them stay in business, which is a really key thing, particularly with the stopgap that Tori was referring to earlier. And then also for businesses who are going to be able to continue to pay their employees and or provide health care and other insurance during this time, knowing that that is such a critical need amongst not only owners, but also the employees. And so as I go into kind of both of the products here, the grant terms, as I mentioned, we have up to $10,000 available per business with one or more employees. We'd also like to reach those that are home-based businesses, appreciating that their businesses have basically dried up at this point. And so those that are a home-based business sole proprietor, they'd be eligible for up to $5,000. The uses for this money are to address payroll, inventory management, other working capital needs, rent and lease payments if they have not been able to make arrangements with their current landlord, or for those that are in a owner-occupied building to pay their mortgage. Ineligible uses are anything that's really not benefiting the business, but benefiting on a personal level. So as we move to the loan program terms, this is looking at offering up to $50,000 per business with a 3 or 5 year term. So typically it would be a 3-year term. We would like to incentivize businesses with those that are able to retain employees or pay that health insurance by giving them an extended term. So we would extend that to a 5-year term. These are 0 interest loans with no loan fees. And we'd defer the payments between 6 to 12 months, again, kind of depending on what the businesses can commit to. And then if the loan isn't fully paid at the end of that term, we would assign an 8% annual interest rate. We're making this ideally a very low barrier loan product. So there's not going to be the typical kind of real estate collateral requirement. We will ask folks to file UCC on their business assets, as well as for anyone that owns 20% or more of the business to provide a personal guarantee. The eligible uses are similar to the grant, as well as the ineligible uses. So as we move on also to the loan program, the equity and impact priorities. So I talked earlier a little bit about the priority businesses that we are aiming to serve with with this fund. In addition, there are other priorities, particularly for the loan products and companies that would be eligible. And so we'd be also prioritizing companies that have at least 50% of their business that's owned by a person of color, or more than 24% of the business's employees are people of color, and at least 50% of the business is owned by a woman, or that provides community assets and other opportunities. And looking at quality jobs, 50% or more employees are paid at salary that's higher than $45,000, or that are operating and serving underserved communities. So as you can see, there's a lot of different pathways for businesses to get in. So while we're prioritizing equity, we also want to be thoughtful about those, particularly in our kind of that fall within our business and industry clusters, that are also providing opportunities around equity, but it might be in a different way. So we're looking to make this as open as possible while prioritizing particular folks. In going to the loan program scenarios, here's just a kind of a summary of the repayment scenarios. So you could see what it would look like for a business, particularly for a monthly payment. So for those that were doing a 3-year term, assuming they took out the full $50,000 loan at 0 interest, they would be looking at a payment of $1,389 a month. And again, that would start at within 6 months. The second scenario are those that are businesses that are able to retain their employees and or pay the health insurance for their employees. So assuming in that scenario that they also took out the maximum loan amount at the 0%, they would be paying $833.33. So there's about a $500 difference, hopefully helping to kind of incentivize those other priorities that we're hoping that keep people within business, with it being employed, as well as providing that health care. So now that we've got the parameters set up, moving towards the application and selection and disbursement. So we have the priority communities that we have identified. We are going to be posting an application online so people can apply right through the Prosper Portland website. That will be launching on Monday. And then once they submit an application, there will be a team within Prosper Portland, as well as some of our network partners, that will review those applications based on the priorities, and then approve the applications. We are going to be working with a couple of network partners that will then actually collect the documents from the applicants and disperse the grant funds. And then those funds will get dispersed and businesses can keep moving in this difficult time. In terms of engagement in our next steps, this has been an incredible experience around our partner engagement. I think that it's a show to the work that the agency has put in before this crisis around building this network and community of partners. So they have been on tap, very eager to help and support as we've put this together. Their input has been invaluable as we have formed this fund. And so you can see here on the slide, there's a host of entities, including our Inclusive Business Network, our minority chambers, the lending partners that have weighed in on our terms, our Council for Economic and Racial Equity, that we also know as CERI, will also be helping us participate and look at and review applications, as well as, most importantly, our small businesses. As many of you know, we do have a business line, a call-in line that is set for small businesses to learn about resources, to connect with someone. And so we have been learning a lot through that, through additional surveys that have come through that have helped inform the program offerings that we're bringing forward to you today. And then as we will continue to ideally grow and connect the regional funds that are popping up. And so those are through our private and philanthropic partners. And supporting that the public seed here today is a really important first step, knowing that we're going to need to continue to see resources, particularly from the federal government, but from our public and foundation partners. So we're really encouraged by that, and we'll continue those conversations. In terms of the grant rollout, as I mentioned, we will be launching this on Monday, so the application will be live on Monday. We are actively working with our network right now to make sure that they can be notifying businesses about the upcoming fund opportunity. What we've seen in other cities right now is that the demand far exceeds the resources. And so making sure that companies and businesses are ready and able to apply. And so getting them ready in the next couple of days so that they can submit those applications, knowing that we anticipate a significant submittal rate. And then we are also turning our focus onto the loan rollout. So we will be coming back to you on April 8th, and that's when we'll be asking for the allocation of $1 million from the enterprise zone to fund and support that loan program. And then we'll be up and running shortly after this grant. So we appreciated that the grant was in the most immediate need, and that's what we heard from partners, particularly for some of those smaller businesses, including restaurants and retailers that are really hurting right now. So getting that underway and getting those folks the funds they need, and then being able to set up that loan program to help stabilize the other businesses. So with that, we're happy to answer any questions that you may have.
This is Francesca. I wanted to just make sure that everybody knows about this. Can we have, is it going to be on our website? I'm imagining like a prominent banner on the homepage of Prosper Portland.
Absolutely.
Really,
oh, sorry. Yes,
no, I was just going to say really something very accessible and prominent.
Yes. So right now on Prosper Portland's main page, there is information for businesses about just ongoing kind of keeping up to date on COVID information and resources as they become available. And then right now there is a banner note that the fund is coming. And so then we will continue to populate that as information rolls out. I'll also say that we are working on translation as well for our applications to make sure that business owners that may not, where English is not their first language, will also be able to access that. And we're working very closely with our partners to make sure that they're teeing up those companies for that as well.
This is Tavo. I think this sounds like a great program. I think you guys have done great work on this, and I like the structure of the loans and the way you've set the program up. Couple questions about our partners. So are our partners kind of geared up to handle this? And are they going to be charging us a fee for this service to roll it out to borrowers? And then finally, have we thought about what kinds of support that our partners might need. Our partners themselves don't really fit into any of these buckets, seems to me. And, some of our nonprofit partners in the Inclusive Business Resource Network will probably need some support at some point. So maybe we should put them on our list, if you will, because that's coming.
Hey, Tori or Shay, could you guys speak to the conversations that you've been having with our Inclusive Business Resource Network partners, both about potentially retooling our grant agreements for the rest of the fiscal year, and any reflections on what they need, as well as what our CDFIs are sharing? Amy, I know you can speak to the second one, but Tori or Shay, can you speak to the first?
I can speak. I think Tori and Charles might be joining a PBA call, but essentially, great question. We've been engaging our IBM partners since the very start of the crisis, not only serving them and doing some calls individually with all our program managers, as well as business advisors, to get a sense of their individual and programmatic capacity to continue working with us and partnering with us during this time, making sure everybody has laptops, making sure everybody can work remotely. We also got off a call yesterday where we confirmed that all of our partners who have the capacity to pivot programming will be able to do so. So we've asked that anybody that has upcoming boot camps or cohorts or any of those kind of programs, a lot of them were open to pivoting to switching to light touch services for the duration of the crisis. So far, we've seen all of our partners be ready, willing, and nimble to respond to this alongside with us. And in terms of ongoing supports, the support for nonprofits is actually a subset of the task forces that we're convening as well. So we are assigning some staff to start exploring that question.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. That sounds great.
And then just on our partners, we will be providing a stipend for those that are helping on the fund disbursement. And so we are currently buying additional resources to do that. So to make sure that we've got that $2 million kept whole in order to serve the business community.
Super, thank you. Other comments or questions?
I was just going to ask, I'm happy to come back April 8th, but is there a reason we can't just approve the other funds today?
I think it's a public notice issue, so Allison and Justin can confirm, but it's my understanding that we would have needed to have noticed this meeting 5 days in advance in order to make a budgetary allocation of that level. And since we were moving as quickly as we weren't able to do that. So I believe that that's the rationale.
Yes, today the resolution authorizes all of the money to go out and the grants to be executed and the IGA amendment to go through to receive the funds. It is a budgetary requirement, though, that we move some funds from one budget item to another. And Tony's discussions with TSCC have indicated that we may need the 5 days to do that.
Okay. Okay. Any other comments? Okay, then, would someone like to make a motion to approve this item? I don't see a resolution number 7363.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Second? Is that Peter? Great.
Yep, that was me.
Super. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Indicate.
Aye.
All right. Passes unanimously. Great work, you guys. Really, I think this is fabulous. And I'm glad that we're jumping on it. And I hope that there are further resources available to us later. I know you're working on that, but I don't think there'll be an end to this for a while. So thanks so much. Thank you very much.
Can we get a report on Monday or Tuesday, and or I guess, yeah, when it closes? When's that? Later next week, and just let us know what kind of response you got.
Absolutely. We're anticipating that it closes on Wednesday right now, but we'll send an update with the information that we have in terms of volume. Absolutely.
That's a great idea.
Great.
Thank you.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. There being no further items on the agenda, the Prosper Portland Board of Commissioners meeting is now adjourned. Thanks, you guys. Great. Good to see everybody.